So there's this book called Letting Go by David Hawkins. Maybe if you've clicked this video, you've heard of it, you've read it. I just want to do my little part here. I just want to give a little testimony, little a Jacralian 2 cents about my experience with it, my thoughts. The gist of it is that I highly recommend this book. That's the first thing. And I had to get basically 3 different recommendations over the course of about 2 years before I finally got this book. And maybe this is the the recommendation that puts you over the edge. So I just want to do my part, put it out in the algorithm, whatever. Do my my little due dilly. But man, this book, it's this act of surrender, of maybe you've heard the expression, let go and let God. Be still and know that I am God. I'm seeing some results, man, over just not even a week of reading this book. I'm not even done with it yet. I've read chapters, the first couple chapters. I read them a couple times. I've reread a couple chapters, but I'm a little more than halfway done with the book. But I've started this letting go practice, which is basically a silent contemplative meditation. It's like I think it's a form of prayer. But what it is that, you can do it to just anytime you want to just sit there. But really, it's like when you have this feeling that comes on, and this book talks about how these feelings that are largely dictated from our subconscious when we were not even 8 years old, 0 to 7 years old, that basically was our the book doesn't really talk about this aspect. I'm sure David Hawkins does talk about this. He's the late David Hawkins was prolific in his lifetime about this kind of stuff. But when you're 0 to 7, you're just in pure theta waves. Your brain is in theta, this theta wave state, which is this highly relaxed. It's what you feel like right before you drift off to sleep and right when you wake up. And it's also the state that hypnotists can put you in that make you just bend to their will. So when you're 0 to 7, you just are pure theta wave. So you're just like a sponge, just soaking everything in. And so that's like the hardware that you now have as you get older. You don't even realize it. But most of who we are, I'm 31 years old. I'm still on the hardware because I haven't done the work into my subconscious yet. No, I've done a lot. I'm a Christian. I take my walk seriously. There's things that I've looked at, but really the subconscious, it's so deep, man, and it's deeper than I ever realized. But this book offers a solution that has been very effective for me, just in my and different. There's all kinds of people on YouTube talking about this book, their testimony, who've been doing it for a long time and have just had are just living in just victory and just breakthrough and just peace and just fulfillment and joy and the Holy Spirit. It sounds like the Holy Spirit, the fruits of the Spirit being love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, and self-control. And this letting go mechanism is basically so we have all these feelings that just come up, these bad feelings. David Hawkins has made a map of consciousness. So if you start from death and you go to peace and enlightenment would be the highest. Just above death, we have shame, which is as low as you can go. And then there's guilt, grief, apathy. Actually, apathy is beneath guilt. No, it's shame, guilt, apathy, grief, and then it's like, I don't know the rest of the order, but it's like fear, anger, desire, lust would be in that category, and pride, and then with courage, you finally break into the positive vibration, the positive state of consciousness. After courage, there's acceptance, willingness, neutrality. But anyway, many of us are kind of anchored in the lower vibrational states, and we fluctuate. And we have, I think, moments. I'm going to speak personally, but I think this is true for a lot of people, that we have moments of courage. We have acceptance, moments of love. But most of our life is kind of spent in this fear and this anger and this lust and this pride, this desire. Desire is the big one. Desire is a big one, because in this consumer culture we have, desire is inherently, you could say, oh, desire is not, it all depends what you desire, but inherently desire is a low vibrational state, Hawkins says. I'm just summarizing his points, but because it's inherently, you're coming from a place of lack. Whereas you get up into acceptance, you don't, like that, I'm on my way by the Proclaimers, and now that I don't want for anything, I'll have Al Jolson sing, I'm sitting on top of the world. Once you get to the point where you don't really want anything, you're just vibing it, I'm good with you, man, I'm doing the best I can, you're doing the best you can, I see we all have our trauma, we're all doing the best we can, life is beautiful, God's in control. This is kind of what AA gets to. And this book talks about AA a bit and how effective it is at getting people to the level of acceptance. But, I think we get blindsided by our thoughts, right? And thoughts are a form of energy. But really, Hawkins says is that they stem from these feelings. And these feelings are programmed, are just reactive responses, subconscious reactive responses to stimuli, that the way that we react to them has been programmed through our subconscious. Almost all of it is when we were extremely young, 0 to 7, like I said. So, for me, man, I'm trying to do this practice, at the start of the day, at the end of the day, but if I'm just kind of, out of work and I'm just around the house or whatever, or I'm doing something and I'm by myself and I have the opportunity to kind of catch these feelings, this just the lust or this desire. I've been trying to check out some of my other videos if you want. I'm almost 3 years on SR and I haven't had this breakthrough moment yet. But I'm just such a stubborn Irishman that I just stay at it. But it's it hasn't been this. You get a lot of, you think, oh, this guy's been on 3 years of SR. He must be levitating in midair and can read people's minds. It's no, man, but I feel this is the missing piece. And I've had such a resistance to meditation and anything that's not Christianity for a very long time. Basically, since I started the practice and I started taking my walk with the Lord seriously, anything that's kind of outside of accepted Christianity, and not more recently Orthodox Christianity, it's nope, not doing it. But we got to run tests, man. We got to experience things for our own and make our own decisions. And this practice for me and for many others, and I'm just getting started with it, but it has been such a blessing. And I've felt these crappy feelings that I just kind of deal with, through basically suppression. There's different ways to deal with feelings. There's escape. He talks about repression is a subconscious bearing down. Suppression is more of a conscious bearing down. I think that's kind of my main thing. But there's expression. We think about talk therapy, just talking it through. that's actually not very effective, according to Hawkins. It can alleviate it for the time, but it doesn't get to the root. And then there's, I think, diversion or escapism or whatever. But like, so if I'm just kind of doing my own thing and I have the opportunity and I feel this just shitty feeling rise up. Like earlier today, I just had this fear about this instance that I had at work. And it's not really important, but it just filled me with this, all of a sudden, this fear. And like Hawkins' point is that, like, the fear, it's not caused by this thing that happened, right? It's not like I was completely neutral, this thing at work happened, and now this fear fills me. No, it's like, because of my trauma or my subconscious or whatever it is, I have this unresolved fear, right? And I'm just using fear as an example, but there's been other low vibrational forms of consciousness that we deal with. But like this fear came up over me today, and it wasn't just like a little, like, oh, I'm a little worried. Like, it was like it just kind of gripped me, and I could feel it. I could feel it like right here in my chest. And when that happens, we just do the letting go practice. And what that is, and he only, like, there's only like a paragraph that describes it, but it's basically just a meditation where you just kind of sit there and you just focus on that feeling. And these thoughts, and your thoughts are racing, but the thoughts are just, your thought is just your mind trying to, like, make sense of the feeling, you know? So the thoughts are cyclical and they're never ending. So Hawkins says just ignore them. So you go down in the feeling, you feel this, and you just sit with it. And you're not judging it. You're not wanting it to go away. You're just like, all right, buddy, I'm here. Like, what's up? You know, for the longest time, guys, as a Christian, I had this thing where it was just like any fear, anything like that is an attack from the adversary. Maybe that's true. And I think you can think about it that way. But I don't know if Hawkins said this, but I've been taking in a lot of content related to Hawkins in the last week or so. But somebody said, oh, you know what it was? It was the Way Within channel. Check that guy out. The Way Within. But if you start having this paradigm shift where you start treating these nagging, shitty feelings as like your children to look after, because really that's just your unresolved childhood if you think about it. So you just sit there and you're like, okay, what's going on? And you just maybe do some, I kind of start off like just, you know, breathing in and out like in traditional meditation, but it gets to a point where your breath, it just kind of shortens and you're just there and you're just focusing on, maybe it's in your heart, maybe a lot of the times it's in like my gut, but usually it's kind of like right in this area. And you just sit with it. And what happens is eventually it just goes away. It just goes away and you just feel better just by dealing. That's literally facing your fear, I suppose. And Hawkins says that this is actually how we work through these low vibrational forms of consciousness, these feelings, he calls it the small self. So we just sit there with it. And I felt like, but it was heavy. It kind of stinks, you know, you're dealing with it. It's not comfortable, but you're just like, all right, I'm just dealing with it, you know. And eventually, if you just sit with it long enough, and other times, like with grief, like, so I've just sat in the morning, I just started, and there's just this like sadness comes over me. And it's like, and that goes away quickly. And he says that grief is actually pretty short-lived. But this fear that I had, it was there for a while. It was like at least 15 minutes, I think. I didn't even time it, but... And that's such a good practice, man, to just be able to just sit there and just deal with yourself, you know, and just to know that, like, like it's like such a form of courage. You're like being like a warrior. You're just going into battle. You're like, all right, I'm not afraid. Like, let's deal with it. I trust God. I know that I'm going to be healed, you know. But when you're actually doing it, you're trying not to think about this stuff. You're just doing the best you can to just feel it and be there with it. Be present with the feeling, the discomfort, the shame, the apathy, whatever it is. Yeah, it's been a very profound sort of experience for me, and I just wanted to give a little recommendation on it, and just my 2 cents, you know. And I'm also, maybe I'll make another video about this, but just like not being so hard on myself, you know, and just really like building myself up, and like having like talking to myself a little bit, and just building myself up, encouraging myself. Because many of us, I know I'm like so hard on myself, man. And it's just like, oh, dude, we messed this up. Like, we won't be good. But this is how we train the subconscious, is we just like, it's just repetition. But you're dealing with it on a conscious level, so it takes a while. Whereas if you do hypnotism, people can get resolved very quickly. I don't know. I don't think I'll do that, babe. I don't know. I'm kind of wary about that. But another way to kind of reprogram your subconscious is to get in that theta wave state, which is what hypnotists deal with you in the theta wave state, which is the state, I think I mentioned this earlier, where when you're a 0 to 7, you're just pure theta waves, right? And that's how you're so susceptible. But theta waves is actually right before you fall asleep and right as you're waking up. So I've been listening to some affirmations, you know, and this kind of like this theta wave music over it, just as I fall asleep. And that's actually probably way more effective. But so I'm doing that practice, and also just get in the habit of just building myself up. Like Jake, you got this, man. Like, you know, man, I know we're feeling a little shitty, but we're going to get through it, man. Like, I love you. I love you, buddy. Like, have you ever just said to yourself, I love you? Like, I love you, Jake. I love you, man. Like, we're going to be good. We got this. We got this. Because for me, just the automatic, like when I'm on autopilot, it's this condemning thing. It's just this hard on myself. It's like, oh, dude, like, what are you doing? Come on. Like, dude, you fucked that up. What the fuck? You know? And you don't even really realize it. But like, this book has been such a freaking game changer. And it's kind of made me look into other stuff. And I made this video about delusion maxing. And then I came across this video. This guy's channel is blowing up. He just started it. I forget the guy's name, Daniel Barada or something. But he talks about basically how it's just like, you can basically, it's like scientific proof for delusion maxing. You're just like what you tell yourself is reality. And so it's like, if you're like a low vibrational person and you always see women as like these hypergamous, just like ruthless, the world is just this ruthless, dark place. Like, you're going to experience that. You're just going to, because you've programmed your mind. Your mind is programmed to, you know, the confirmation bias. You see what you believe, and like, you can only take in so like a tiny fraction of the external world, that the way that your brain works, it's like, okay, we're just going to take in the stuff that, like, you know, aligns with our subconscious, right? So it's this process of just reinventing yourself. Like, this guy Joe Dispenza just talks about, you just need a new self. Like, you just need to become a new person. So, and just the past is the past. We got to become at peace with it. And so, but like right now, it's like, I'm not really at peace with it, but I just keep telling myself, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And eventually, I really believe it, guys. And people have given testimony about this, that eventually it gets to a place where it just clicks. And it's like, oh yeah. And then you actually are at peace. And so it's like, you have the letting go method, right? That's how you actually become into a you climb the consciousness. You start ascending into a higher consciousness, and you do that by dealing with the low vibrational states, because that's what's blocking you. And that's the call for all seekers, is that really all people. I mean, whether you're a seeker or not, like, you got to do it in order to find any fulfillment or joy. That's lasting, you know, that's not just fleeting based on the external. So you have that practice, but then there's this practice of changing who you are, of just complete reinvention. And that's ultimately what we need to do, is we need to reinvent ourselves to be the man that we want to be, the woman that we want to be. And we just do that through just hyping ourselves up. You got this. But just, I like maybe a mirror affirmations. Just talk to yourself throughout the day, and just know that it's like, it might not be like real, but like, our autopilot's not real either. It's just dealing with the subconscious that we have that's like negative Nelly, right? So we're just rewiring it, man. And it's exciting. It's exciting. I feel like this is kind of the missing piece for me. And I just wanted to give a little talk on it. And yeah, check him out, man. Check out David Hawkins, because check out this book, Letting Go by David Hawkins. Like, just check it out. Just check it out. If this has even resonated with you, if 21 minutes in, if you're still listening, check it out, man. You owe it to yourself. Because I have been recommended this book 3 different times over the course of 2 years. And each time I was like, no. And then finally, the 3rd time I saw it, I was like, you know what? This is the 3rd time I've been right. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to read it. And when I read it, I was just like, oh, this is actually legit. Like, this is the mechanism of healing, is we just deal with it. We just sit there with it. That is how we let go with it. Let go of it. So, hey man, if you made it this far in the video, subscribe, share, like. Let me know what you guys think about this video. What's your personal experience with this letting go thing? If you've done it, what are your thoughts on it if you haven't? I want to hear from you as always. Be easier on yourself, man. You got this. You got this. Start being your own hype man, you know? As the old Jordan Peterson, one of his rules for life was treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. You know, like, we're so, like, naturally, like, people, a lot of us are just so much more loving towards other people than we are to our own selves, or so much more loving to our pets. And, you know, just start treating yourself with a softer touch. Look into this book. And, yeah, I guess I'll just end it there. And God bless you guys. Let me know what you think. Peace.